Hey, good morning. Tiki Ra on the road. Finally on the road. So I thought we'd look at the map this morning and see where we've got to. Okay, so here we go. We started up here. Where's Early? Dumba. That looks like us there. Oh geez, I think we're in here. So I came out here and went and saw my mates up at Finch Hatton. And then yesterday we came round the back way here and into Serena, and we got down to about here. Today there's these caves here. I'm not sure if they're going to be open this morning because I got up super early, but we're going to go and have a look in here, Byfields National Park, around here. Have a look in there. It's supposed to be quite beautiful. So into Yeppoon and then along to Byfields, another hidden treasure of the eastern coast of Australia. Okay, so just about packed up. Had a great night's sleep. Beautiful morning. Off to find a good coffee at a service station somewhere, probably Marlborough. Okay, ciao for now. Had the morning coffee. I don't know what it is about coffee, I just love it. I hear lots of people talking about giving it up, but nah, it's just lovely. It's a beautiful ceremony of the morning. It gives you that little ping. I wonder if like in 100 years to come they'll look back on us now and say, oh, they had no idea. They drank coffee, they smoked cigarettes. What a stupid generation. For now, I love it. Alright, so we're about 100 k's short of Rocky, which is the turn off for Yeppoon, which is the turn off for Byfields. So, let's go. Okay, here we are, Capricorn Caves on Durrumball country, Durrumball Nation. Okay, so we're going to go in and see if we can go for a look through the caves.
I would like to say my name is Jai, and I hope we all enjoy ourselves. Making sure everyone has their lights on, please. Alright guys, now that we're all here on a nice safe flat ground, feel free to turn your lights off. Here we are in an area, or the cave, we like to call the Colosseum. That's because we often get school children down here to kind of battle it out to see who wins. I'm just kidding. See these two nice columns up the side there? These really nice big structures? They are the two columns for our Colosseum. And I guess the main attraction for this cave is actually these two pits here. Of course, we have a man-made excavation just there, and we have a nice natural sinkhole. So this nice runnel along the floor here was where the water came through to help carve out that sinkhole. And now, a bit of history about this cave. So back in the year 1998, about a year before I was born, funnily enough, a man by the name of Dr. John Hocknell came through. And he found a few bones protruding from the ground. And that led him to have a bit of an exploration. I believe it may well have led him down there, which he found a fair few highly compressed bones and fossils, which then led him to possibly do an excavation. It started in 2003. Oh, I might have forgot to mention one thing. Dr. John Hocknell was from the Queensland Museum. Every so often I forget to mention that. So yes, that excavation happened in 2003, and I believe they only first dug down for 10 centimetres. Because on the side here, there are some metal tags that actually have 10 centimetre increments. So, for the first 2 years, I believe he only dug down for this depth. And those 10 centimetres can actually be dated back to 350 years. That's pretty impressive. Hey, it is a simple 10 centimetres. And then once again, in 2012, I believe the Queensland University came through this time and dug down to the depth we see here today, which is around 1.97 metres deep, or 2 metres. So slightly above my head. And at the bottom there, it could be dated back to 500,000 years. That's insane, don't you think? It gives a little bit of an explanation, or an understanding, I should say, of how compressed the floor is beneath our feet. And just try and think how many bones and fossils they found out there. Found down there, I should say. And our team and I actually have a fair few lying around the place, and we took the liberty of doing a few trowel fulls to actually be able to show tourists in this bucket here. So gather around, guys, and I'll show you what these bones look like. If someone would like to hold out their hand, this is most likely a lizard bone, something to do with the thigh bone with a ball and socket joint. See the little ball and socket joint right at the end there? Feel free to pass it around, guys, and turn your own lights on if you want a better look. This is another better example, a bit bigger. The creatures that would used to belong, sorry, the bones that these creatures, you know what I mean, the bones that the creatures are, would most likely be snakes, frogs, bats, sugar gliders, possums, and lizards, and a few others. I think the floor is made out of. That's right. Guano or bat poo. A large majority of the floor is indeed made out of bat guano. And have we ever heard of a creature called an owl? Well, we have a small species of owl that like to hang around here called the boobock owl. And they will gather food from the outside, bring it inside and eat it, or maybe capture some animals on the inside and eat that too. And they'll try and digest all of these soft parts, so like eyes, livers, kidneys, stomach, intestines, etc., etc. And they'll digest all of that. And anything they could not digest, such as bones, teeth, or skin, they'll kind of put that into a bit of a ball in their stomach and create a pellet, which would then be thrown up back onto the floor. So, having said all of that, you may have already guessed where I'm coming from. For the rest of this tour, we're going to be walking along lovely, lovely bat poo and owl vomit. Watch your steps, guys. It can be a little slippery and the ground is moving as well. So keep your lights on, guys. I'm just turning mine off so I don't blind you half to death. And gather around this little cage here. This isn't cave jail. No one's in there for breaking any of the limestone or touching the walls too much. This is purely not to actually keep anything in, it's to keep us out. I'll be putting my hands inside because I know what I'm looking for, but I'll show you what they're stopping us from damaging or getting too close to. So if we look along the ceiling here, we can actually see these little guys up there. There's a few more here too. There's some out the further down the back, down the bottom there. There's some further over there as well. And we might be able to see how some of them have droplets on the end of them. Well, that's because these guys are called soda straws. That's because they're hollow, like soda straws. Water travels through them and builds up on the end there, and that's how they actually get bigger. If those droplets were never to fall off, or have a continued source of water source, they would continue to grow down to the floor and be like mini jail bars. But if water were to get blocked off the end and it can no longer continue to grow, water has to go somewhere afterwards, right? So water would permeate through the sides, trickle down the sides, and get bigger and bigger and bigger, longer and longer and longer, until stalactites are formed. So these little guys here are the first beginnings of stalactites. How cool is that? We need rain, and a lot of it. It needs to rain heavy enough and long enough so it can seep through the entire cave system to reach them. Because they can only grow 1 centimetre every 100 to 400 years or more, depending on where they are in the cave. So if you think about it, these little guys here are positively ancient. This is eventually what they'll turn into, given enough time. These massive guys here, a very, very big stalactite and a bit of a big stalagmite. Because in order for stalagmites to grow, water will drop down and then build up all those drops to form a stalagmite. And if we're lucky enough here, this one likes to drip a fair bit. We may even get to see a drip, because this guy is still active. So gather around this section, guy. It's a bit of a squish for this little section, but making sure we can see where I'm about to point. The breeze is really good today. Normally not this strong.
Clean up this thin area.
I like that little jump he did at the end there. Same thing earlier. Call out if anyone needs a hand. Should have said that earlier on. Have a look around. Can we see, one good section is behind you, see that gigantic ice cream scoop? Looks like a giant's come through with an ice cream scoop and scooped it out. Yeah. There's a bit of more of a section where I'm pointing there. Further down the back as well to your guys' right, all along the wall there. There's more over here too, further at the back. Well, I'd like you guys to remember them as gigantic ice cream scoops. So when I mention that, you can figure out, what on earth is he talking about? Well, now you'll know. Alright guys, now as we travel along this section, it can be a little slippery, but feel free to grab onto anything you need to along here, alright guys? There's a router along the floor, along the right, so please be careful. Alright, follow me. So once we finish that tiny bit of a climb, feel free to turn your lights off. Granny's cloak moth is actually quite unique. They are one of the, I guess you could call it a main food source of the bats. That's because, oh, turn your lights off for us please. So, you know how bats have echolocation? Well, we can't hear that echolocation, but the Granny's cloak moth can. So, since they get eaten by the bats quite regularly, they'll hear that echolocation and actually vibrate their wings and their body very quickly, setting off a counter vibration that puts off the bat's echolocation, so it's harder to find them. Quite smart, hey? If you ever manage to get to see one of those moths, go up nice and close to them, but not too close because they'll fly away. Shine your light on them. You may get to see a bit of a purpley glow and then start to shake. That's that counter vibration, and the purpley glow is the powder on their wings that's created via an LED light. And their eyes may even glow a bit of a ready yellow colour. Once again, have a look around the edge here. There's another one of our famous giants came by with a knife instead of a gigantic ice cream scoop. He cut out the edge there. See how it looks like that? Yeah. Well, that's because this area in here once used to house a whirlpool. Oh. Pretty cool, isn't it? To show more evidence, see the possible carve out along the edge there. Well, that could have possibly been part of the waves of the whirlpool, lapping up and carving that out over time. And see those parts that are slightly up higher that looks like they've been circled out or carved out? That could have possibly been from when the minerals from the rock gathered by the moving whirlpool could have maybe been formed into a bit of a gas and eroded up further up higher. For those gigantic ice cream scoops that I was mentioning, well, the whirlpool came from that section up there, would have whirled around here a fair bit and gone straight down where we came from. And instead of going down like a stream, it would have gone down like a gigantic vortex, spinning like this. Or possibly even the other way. A little hard to tell. And it would have carved out those weaker sections of the rock, creating those gigantic ice cream scoops. So when we head back down there shortly, you can get a bit of a better understanding of what on earth created them.
Just came out of that little hole there. That was so cool. Random. Didn't know I was doing this today. Pretty stoked.
Cheers! And enjoyed ourselves in the meantime. Thank you very, very much for coming.
Gail, that was sensational. I've never been in caves where you can actually climb and, you know, like explore them like they used to explore them. Highly recommend Capricorn Caves. Can't tell you how many times I've come past here.